Dr. Wood, author of the book Miracles in Minutes, and I just shot a video on talking it out to work it out. And now I'm going to cover a different subject matter, which is analysis paralysis, closed-mindedness, and hidden courtrooms. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So I was going out with this girl, and everything was going great, but she tends to, like a lot of people, I do too, sometimes we get in our heads and we start thinking things and we create a story about our lover, our partner, our friend. And so this story, we see something, maybe it's interpreted, and we see them in a negative light, not in a good light. We see that maybe there's a wrong here. Maybe not. It needs to be talked about. That's why you talk it out to work it out. If not, you go in your head and you sit on the judgment seat. And then your mind goes to look for evidence to confirm your possible belief here. And it will find stuff because the mind's creative. It'll make shit come together that maybe not even be true, but will convince you that it is true. So the judgment was that at some point in the future that I'm going to leave her, I'm going to cheat on her, I'm going to do all this stuff. Now, I don't know what's going on. We're just having a good time. And she's having this hidden courtroom in her head. She sat on the judgment stand. Judged me guilty and then executed me. And I had no idea. Guess how much I got to show up in her courtroom? Guess how, was I allowed in her courtroom to make, hey, wait a minute. Well, you're not even talking to me. I'm the defendant in the case in your courtroom here. I wasn't even allowed to be put on the stand. I wasn't allowed to offer counter evidence. I wasn't allowed to clarify maybe something that was miscommunicated. I wasn't even allowed to offer any character references of who the hell I am. And your kangaroo court in your head just judged me, condemned me, executed and hang that guy. So when people are closed-minded, when people have a hard time expressing themselves or don't know how to express themselves, to talk it out and work it out, they'll have these kangaroo courts on lots of people. It's not that they're bad people. They just don't know how to express themselves, and to protect themselves from getting hurt, they have to get rid of you. Because if you look like, and if they think that you could hurt them, they need to protect themselves. And that's what fear does. Fear puts the mind in a state of analysis paralysis. I need to solve this. I need to solve this. I need to solve this. What's going on here? I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I feel vulnerable. I could get hurt. I could get hurt. I could get hurt. And we do this with a lot of things. It could be a person we love. It could be the career we always wanted. The mind, we're getting ready to be vulnerable. We're getting ready to step outside our comfort zone. We're going to take some risk here. And humans tend to be risk adverse, and they tend to go for safety and protection. Look at the society we live in. Mothers and dads do everything they can to protect their kids, and they try to minimize all risk. And minimizing all risk, they actually hurt the kid, they hurt themselves, and it becomes very destructive to all involved. The relationship fractures at some point. Either the child runs away because mom or dad, you're too freaking controlling, I need to live my life and make decisions for myself, or the child becomes inept and they don't know how to do anything, and all they do is sit around and waiting for someone to tell them what to do next. Either way, it doesn't work. You lose the relationship with the kid, or you have a kid that does exactly what the parent says and now they're dysfunctional. So the same thing can happen in a relationship where someone wants to control you, not let you do anything, and you're under the roof and you just say yes ma'am, no ma'am, and do whatever and they lead you around by your nose, to do whatever they say. It's not a lot of fun for either party. And men who allow women to do that to them, I would say that's not really healthy. That's not really a functional relationship. It's one of control and power and domination. That's not a cooperative. It's not working together. Two free people working together in a relationship to build something healthy. That's one controlling the other, dominating, as in a dictator state. Someone in there is a dictator. That's not it. And I would say to the male psyche, it will definitely lower your testosterone levels. it will be harder for you to get an erection because you're not being a man. You're being led around like a dog. And some men feel frustrated and they don't speak up because there's too much bullshit. And when they try to bring it up, maybe the wife won't listen. Maybe the husband won't listen. That's what happens when someone is afraid. In a fear state, they won't allow you to speak, express yourself. You're going to do as I say, and that's that. That's not a relationship. It's a dictatorship. So there's a lot of archetypes out there where people are together and they stay together unhappily ever after, or just accepting that's what's happening, and that's the way it goes. Again, that's not a relationship. That's a dictatorship. Okay? So the person who is the controlling one is the one who's very insecure, and they need to control anyone and everything around them to make themselves feel safe. And they usually have a lot of fear, a lot of anger, and a lot of bitterness about life. And even though they have absolute control, they're still not happy. Because how can you be happy if deep inside you're suppressed in what you're really thinking and what you're really feeling and not dealing with the fear? You can't avoid fear. It's everywhere. You have to deal with it. And as Joseph Campbell said, everything you ever wanted was on the other side of the cave of fear. So you may be in a relationship that's, quote, working, but it's not functional or healthy. So this gets into analysis paralysis. It gets into, summary judgments and how people judge you in their mind. And it helps you to understand what has happened to you, how it happened, and why it happened. So talk it out to work it out solves that. You're going to have to deal with fear. I got some videos on that. And how to stop thinking so much. I would say the Wim Hof method. To get your breathing down so you can control your nervous system. You get that under control. You can relax. So then you can open up to listen to someone else. If you think you know it all, even if it's me, what I'm not doing is I'm not hearing you. I'm not allowing you to speak. I'm not allowing you to show up. I'm having a kangaroo court in my head. You're guilty. Don't even let them get to the witness stand. That's totally inconsiderate. It's totally rude. And it's 100% disrespectful to another human being. You need to deal with your fears if you're the one doing that because you're not being loving. I'm going to charge you with not being loving. I'm going to charge you with not being considerate. I'm going to charge you with all these charges. You need to sit with those charges and realize, now we're going to have a real courtroom. Now we're going to have a real judgment here. This is what's true in the matter. You're being inconsiderate. You're being rude. And part of it is because you're afraid. And your fear states are causing you to think incorrectly, to make impulsive judgments, and condemning your fellow person unjustly, and then executing on them. You're not being a good person here. Now, I can forgive that. No big deal. But what I can't forgive is if you don't go and do something about it and own it. Because if you don't own it and you don't accept it and you don't take responsibility for it, what I know is this: you're going to keep doing it to me. Make a mistake once. Got it. Make a commitment to do something about it. You can make the mistake again. Hey, I got some forgiveness here. Because at least you're in process. I see you working at it. I see you trying to improve yourself. Hey, I'll give some leniency here, but to avoid it altogether, to act like it didn't occur, to deny it in totality, I have no freaking, I'll forgive it, but the trust in this relationship of you being privileged to my personhood has now been cut off on your part. And if you go look at your life, you're going to see that in the trail of your personhood, there's a lot of broken relationships and hurt people because you don't care enough about yourself or others to do something about it. I'm going to accuse you of not being a compassionate, loving, caring person. You're a fearful person, but please take a look at the carnage in the background of your life. Your need to be right and others wrong has left a lot of hurt people. That's what selfishness does. That's why I don't like it. Because you're not open to listen to anybody else except yourself. And you're doing it because you're so afraid. And all of these thoughts are what you think keep you safe. But in reality, they've kept you in hell and they've kept you in prison. And deep down inside, you're suffering horribly. You're trying to make yourself happy and pretend to be happy in front of everybody else, but you're not. And I say this not to be judgmental. I say this so that way maybe you open your eyes and see that love, relationships, people have compassion for you. They want to be with you, but you're making it very hard for them to do that. Dr. Wood, have a great day.